Hello, everybody. This is Rebecca Johnson of Supergirl Radio. We're going to get started officially here in a minute, but this is our first episode back in 2025. So I hope everybody had a good break and a good holiday season. We certainly enjoyed the rest. But we're going to be talking about the Superman trailers because there were two. People concentrate on the one teaser trailer, but there was a teaser trailer to the teaser trailer. So we're going to talk about both of those. And then we have some news to cover as well. It looks like Morgan is there. Are you ready to go? Yes.
I'm ready.
Oh my gosh, I forgot to add a little headline. Teaser. Okay.
I don't know if I've watched both teaser trailers now.
Oh, well, we will be watching both.
Okay.
And also my background. I don't know. I'm trying something new with the live streams. I don't know how I feel about it. You'll have to give me your feedback, Morgan. Because on social media, when I make the, I'm also looking strangely. Why am I looking to the left? Something feels weird about StreamYard tonight. But on social media, the reels, when I've had stuff on the top and the bottom of our live streams, like the text, like the title of our streams, like sometimes they're in the reels that I make. And I'm like, what would it look like if I took those out? Would it look a little cleaner? I don't know. So give me your feedback, everybody. I would love to know how you feel about the background of the live stream with no text. Do you know what we're talking about if we don't put it up there? Is that important? Is it a surprise? I don't know. So I'm trying something new with the live stream backgrounds. I don't know quite how I feel about it, but let me know if you have strong opinions about it. I'll definitely listen to the feedback. Okay, so Morgan, are you ready to go? We are going to be watching both trailers, so we will be getting to them in case you haven't watched them. And we have a bit of news because we have some things we got to catch up on, mostly because I forgot to put things in the news section. So that's on me, really.
Some of the news broke recently, though.
Some
of it was holiday news.
Recently, like a month ago.
Some news just as a little treat for you guys.
So we are going to get into all of that. And then also, okay, so before we do that, can I check something on my settings?
Sure.
Am I mirrored? Because I swear Luthor Corp is backwards on my end.
It's forwards.
Oh.
The way I'm looking at it.
Oh, okay. So now I feel normal. Now I feel good. I feel we took a month off, and I'm weird about it now.
I signed into StreamYard and it gave me like 300 notifications. It was like, StreamYard, everything's different now. StreamYard, listen, no, calm down.
We love the updates, but sometimes don't break what's not broken. Like, just don't.
Why during the holidays and then all at once when I get back? Why aren't you working on my time?
Okay, I feel better. Everything is right side up. Everything is good. I'm looking in the right place. Okay, all right. So now we can officially get started because everything is oriented correctly. So let's get started.
McGurk! I love typing.
Not mess with my Google Docs, Meeksy.
Supergirl Radio is going live every night of the week. How do you like it? Is becoming a human burrito a plus or a minus? I don't know. It does seem snug.
I mean, they say you are what you eat.
Kira. I love that.
So I do a podcast called Supergirl Radio, and one of our segments is Lena Luthor, Boardroom or Ballroom. Because
she looks like a boss in this coat.
Nasty Luthor like a different Luthor? It's not just Lena being mean?
No.
Helen Slater here. It's so fun to know that you're hosting a podcast called Supergirl Radio.
Welcome to Supergirl Radio, your source for all things Kara Zor-El. My name is Rebecca Johnson.
I'm Morgan Glennon.
And for this episode of the podcast, we are live and wired to discuss and break down the Superman official teaser trailer and then the teaser trailer to the teaser trailer that they released the day before. Both, because they have different footage in both of them. So it's important that we look at both as well. I see in the chat, Derpy Entertainment says, when the DCU news is dry and you have to review the Superman trailer. And I just want to say to that, you've probably heard other people talk about these trailers, but you haven't heard us talk about the trailers.
That's true.
And that's going to make the difference with everything that we talk about here at Supergirl Radio. So hopefully you will
Are
enjoy
they
it.
crypto super fans like we are?
Are they going to
Probably.
critique the editing of the trailer? Because I have thoughts.
Maybe.
So we are going to get to all of that, all of the multiple trailers, and even the official poster that came along with it as well. So
Ooh.
there's the first poster that we can look at and dissect as well. But before we get to all of that, we need to get to
The news.
According to Deadline, Jason Momoa, star of Warner Brothers and DC's Aquaman films, has been tapped to play Lobo in Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Deadline has confirmed. Momoa has been linked to the Lobo role since before James Gunn came in to lead the DC alongside Peter Safran. He's been vocal in the past about his interest in the part, and today confirmed his attachment to the role in a post on Instagram where he screenshotted the comments from a past interview.
And I should say it wasn't today. I copied and pasted this from Deadline. This is from like weeks ago. So I should have taken the today part of that. It was not today, like as we speak today.
Yeah.
It was like a while back. Yes.
Listen, we're up on the news the second it breaks. We'll cover it about a month later. So don't you worry. That's our guarantee to you.
I just wanted to clarify.
You know how we're a breaking news podcast here? Okay, so where he screenshot comments from a past interview, he said, "I collect comics and I don't do so much anymore, but was always my favorite, and I always wanted to play Lobo because I'm like, hello, it's the perfect role," said the actor. Sorry, I'm doing a little bit of acting myself.
Just like Jason Momoa.
Thank you. I get that a lot. Momoa, like they say about me. Momoa went on to say that should DC come around asking him to play Lobo, it would be a F yeah. Alongside the Instagram screenshot, Momoa posted a caption this morning that reads...
Also not this morning.
Oh, yeah.
Several mornings ago.
Many mornings ago.
I should have maybe proofread this before we got started.
It's fine. The people know. He posted a caption that read, "They called." Ooh, mysterious. An anti-hero known for his violent and irreverent. Is that how you say that?
Irreverent? Yeah.
Okay.
I know it looks weird when you have to read it.
It's one of those words that I read a lot in my brain, but I don't say aloud all that often, and it turns out I can't. Personality who hails from the planet, oh God.
Zarnia.
Zarnia?
I think
Lobo,
so.
That feels right.
Yeah.
It looks like Narnia, but with a CZ in the front.
I think it's Zarnia. We'll find out, I guess.
We will. I think he should introduce himself and be like, "I'm Lobo. I'm from Zarnia," and then you're like, "There's that pronunciation.
We got it.
We got it." Lobo possesses superhuman strength, regenerative. Oh my God, am I okay?
Regenerative. You gotta sound it out. Yeah.
Abilities and an invulnerability that makes him a formidable opponent. Created by writer Roger Siffler and artist Keith Giffen, the character often is depicted as a bounty hunter who enjoys chaos and destruction. He was first introduced in Omega Men #3 in June 1983.
So, Morgan, we had previously discussed the possibility that this might happen on Supergirl Radio, but now that it's confirmed, what are your thoughts about Lobo appearing in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow?
Well, he wasn't in it in the version I read.
That's true. He was never in the story to begin with.
In it. So that's already, we're sort of getting off book, and I'm like, okay. But I do like the casting, so I'm mixed on this one. I like the idea of him showing up And I like the idea of maybe them sort of establishing him as the character. I don't necessarily need a ton of him in the movie. That's sort of my line. Like, I would love him to come in and have like maybe a scene or two with Supergirl.
A scene.
A scene, yeah.
But let's not give him 2. I don't think he needs 2.
He's not getting in that spaceship. He's not going on. He's not going on that ride. No, sir. No, sir. Lobo, we're leaving you behind. We're meeting you. We're greeting you. We're saying goodbye.
I like that. Yes.
But if it's a fun like appearance, I think that's really cool. If he's like in a substantial portion of the movie, I'm less excited.
Yeah, I think that's where I am. I think it could make sense for Lobo, even though he was not in the original story.
It's true.
And I will say part of the problem I have with it is that Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, what I like about it is the story focuses around Supergirl and Ruthie. And it's these two, a fully grown woman, a 21-year-old woman, and then a teenager working through their issues together. And then when you put loud, obnoxious Lobo in there, it's like, it kind of, for me, it ruins the tone of the story a little bit. But I think Jason Momoa is perfect for this. Obviously, he was great as Aquaman, but I think he would be great as Lobo. I don't want to see a lot of him. I don't want this to become the Lobo movie featuring Supergirl. I don't want that to become the case, and it makes me nervous because I think it could become the case. But I think it makes sense. He's a bounty hunter. The story is Ruthie looking for someone who would go after Krim to avenge her father. So it makes sense that maybe if I had to include Lobo in this story, I would put him at the beginning in the bar when Ruthie is looking for people who would go after her father. And so I think maybe Lobo is just one of those choices, maybe before she gets to Supergirl. So that would make sense to me. If he's in it after that, I would have an issue. But we'll see how it goes. I'm kind of in a wait and see thing. It would bother me if this was more. I feel like this is a forced thing that we have to include other DC characters in this to make it a shared cinematic universe. When I don't really feel like you need to.
We don't.
Just tell the story. But it feels like somebody in the executive level was like, well, Supergirl's not enough. We got to put some other DC characters in this movie. And that's what it feels like to me.
Will the people go see Supergirl? And it's like, yes. Yes, the people have been crying out for Supergirl. The people being the two of us on this podcast.
Also, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow sold out after they announced it.
Well, yeah.
It's been a really popular book. It's been an award-winning book. I think to shove this in just because they think Supergirl's not popular, and it's like, well, the last attempt that you made to put Supergirl in a movie didn't go well because you killed her about 11 times. You didn't give her a chance.
I would also argue that back in the early 2000s, Iron Man wasn't popular, and guess who's popular now? If you invest some time and effort in a good story, she becomes more popular. Don't try to dilute the Woman of Tomorrow story by throwing in a bunch of guest appearances where it's like, this person's popping up, this person's popping up. No, we got Ruthie, we got Supergirl. I'm good. We got Crypto, obviously.
Crypto, yeah, that's your other DC character.
And
if you have
Comet.
And Comet. We have a lot of DC characters in this story.
Have they cast that horse yet?
That's still TBD. But maybe
that's the casting news I want is the horse. I want a Deadline article about the horse. It's like Mr. Oates cast as.
So, in addition to this news about Jason Momoa as Lobo, we should let everybody know that apparently, from what the internet is telling me, that Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow has started shooting this week. So keep your eye out for a horse on the set.
Yes. Now is the time.
You can, normally I don't like spoilers, but if you snap a picture of the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow set that has a horse in it, you let us know. You contact us first thing, supergirlradio@gmail.com. We would love to see those pictures. So I think I don't anticipate we'll see much from the set in the coming weeks, but who knows what happens. I just hope that they actually release, whenever they do release an image of Millie Alcock as Supergirl in the suit, that it would be a high quality, professionally taken photo, not a photo taken on somebody's iPhone 7. That would be
I
that
think
would be
the,
my
the odds
priority.
of that are bad. It's gonna be zoomed in. It's gonna be really grainy. You're gonna be like, "Wow, that one pixel looks great."
Or I hate it because all I can see is that one pixel.
Yeah.
It could be a mixed bag, but I don't know. I'm kind of in a wait and see, kind of like you with the Jason Momoa news. I just hope that they do not make it a bigger thing than it really should be. And maybe there's going to be a Lobo movie. I guess it seems like they could throw him in there if they get people excited about Lobo and further him on as he goes along. But I just hope this is not a forced thing to throw him into Supergirl, where he really didn't belong. He wasn't in that story. But I'm going to try to get over myself and not focus on that too much. So congratulations to Jason Momoa. It seems like he's wanted to play this character for a long time. So he will be great, I'm sure. Well, let's move on to some Superman news, because actually I think we got behind in talking about the casting for the Superman movie, and that's my fault, really. So we need to catch up on letting everybody know, which people probably already do, but we're going to talk about it, about the actors hired to play the Daily Planet characters. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Michaela Hoover and Christopher McDonald have joined the cast of Gunn's Superman, the inaugural movie of DC Studios. The duo will have company on the news desk, with Saturday Night Live alum Beck Bennett, who has joined the production to play Steve Lombard, a blowhard and self-serving reporter who in the comics serves as a foil to Boy Scout reporter Kent. What they left out in that description is that he's normally the sports reporter. Like he's
Yeah.
he's kind of
That's
a
his
jock
beat.
in the newsroom.
How dare you leave out his beat?
The Hollywood Reporter goes on to say Hoover is playing Kat Grant, who in the comics was a gossip columnist who had her eyes set on Kent. The character, created by Marv Wolfman and Jerry Ordway, has appeared in several TV shows, most notably in CW Supergirl, in which she was played by Callista Flockhart. Perfectly. That's my add in
Yes,
to that
perfectly.
she was played by Callista Flockhart in a perfect performance. McDonald is playing Ron Troop, one of the best reporters in the newsroom. In the comics, the character, created by Ordway and Tom Grummett, ended up having a son with Lois Lane's sister, Lucy Lane. The movie will feature classic members of Superman's supporting characters such as Jimmy Olsen, Eve Tessmacher, and Daily Planet editor-in-chief Perry White. So I wanted to make sure that we covered that news, because we will see these characters in the teaser to the teaser trailer that we're going to be talking about for this episode of Supergirl Radio. So are you excited, Morgan, to see a live action version of Steve Lombard?
Absolutely. Obviously, he is a good pal of ours now from My Adventures with Superman. He's got his catchphrase, "Nah." I hope that they bring that in.
It has to go in there. I feel like it's now an established part of his character.
Everybody who writes him from now on, I think, needs to put like a "nah" in there, just so that we know it's Steve. You know,
how would we know otherwise?
How would we know it was Steve if he wasn't saying "nah"? I am excited to see all of the different Daily Planet reporters kind of popping up in the movie. I had to look up Beck Bennett, and I've definitely seen this guy in a million zillion things. Even though if you had asked me, you showed me a photo and said, "Who is that?" I'd be like, "Well, I'll know that guy." So now I know his name.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
now I can be a super fan for his Steve Lombard.
I remember seeing him on SNL, so he's a very funny guy. So I think he would do a great job as Steve Lombard. So I think that's a great casting choice for that. It seems like the gentleman who is playing Ron Troop, McDonald, what is his name? Christopher McDonald. It sounds like this is his first role, or his first film role, maybe. So I'm excited to see someone new introduced to the screen. And I'm actually really excited about Ron Troop getting to be part of this, because Ron Troop is a great character in the comics, and he has been a Daily Planet mainstay for quite some time. So it's nice to see that, like, the full. I think this is the first time we've gotten little bits and pieces of these characters in various iterations. Like in Man of Steel, you had Clark and Lois and Steve. and kind of a Jimmy character in the Jenny Olsen, or the Jenny character. She was called Jenny Olsen in one like name tag thing, but she wasn't actually called Jenny Olsen in the film. But so you got those kinds of characters, and of course Perry White's in Man of Steel. On Lois and Clark, you get Lois, Clark, Perry, and Jimmy and Kat. So you got some of those characters in there. And then, of course, on Supergirl, you get Kat, we got a Jimmy, we got a Clark, we got a Lois. But we haven't ever gotten like a full Daily Planet staff before. So I will give this movie credit that this is, I think, the first time that we've gotten that full kind of side, Superman characters, like the Clark Kent Daily Planet characters. This is the first time we've seen the full group. So that's something to be excited about, in my opinion. So I'll be excited to see how they put Kat in there with all of them, because this is going to be her as a Daily Planet staffer, not the queen of all media. So this will be a very different version of Kat Grant than what we saw on the Supergirl TV series.
Yeah, so I realized that looking at this list that I'm not that familiar with Ron Troop as a character. I don't think that he's been in much that I've seen in terms of like Superman, Supergirl stuff.
Yeah, so he is in the comics. He is a character that's usually there with Clark and Lois at the Daily Planet. So I'm trying to remember. I can't think of any like big Ron Troop stories, although the article that we read mentioned that he had a child with Lucy Lane. So he has been involved with Lucy Lane. I think that's probably like his biggest thing that he's known for. But I think Ron Troop should be in more stuff. I would like to see someone who actually does their job. Like Lois and Clark, they're doing their job, but they're also like out doing other things.
Doing their job,
I imagine Ron Troop gets up every morning. He puts on, his clothes. He eats his breakfast. He goes to work and he's like, I'm going to be here till like 5 o'clock. I'm going to do my articles or whatever. And then he leaves and he goes home and then he like does things at home. And he's not part of that
like
craziness.
He's just a normal dude just trying to go to work. Just like, oh my God, my coworkers are running around screaming. He's like, another day.
So I would like a day in the life with Ron Troop,
Me
honestly.
too.
I think that would be great. That's how I see Ron Troop anyway. He's like a really good reporter. He's consistent. He shows up to work and he does his job. And so that's what I like about him. And Mind the Gap reminds us that in My Adventures with Superman, they made Ron Troop Ronnie, who was a female reporter. So they kind of took a female bit to his character in that show. So we have seen a Ron Troop kind of character before, but in a different way. So I'm very excited to get to see the full Daily Planet staff. Okay, so now that we've covered the news, I think we should get into looking at the trailers. So Morgan, I don't know if you want me to like be in control of them, or would you like to be? Okay. All right. So we're going to pull up the teaser to the teaser trailer, which is called on YouTube. It says teaser trailer tomorrow. That's the title of this thing. So this was released the day before they released the teaser trailer. So I'm going to pull this up and I'm going to make it go full screen. I think, can we all see it as full screen here? Yes. Okay. Yep. Good. And we should have audio. So stop me if we don't have audio. So, okay. Am I pulling up the right one? Okay. I think I have like multiple iterations of this. So let me make sure that I pull up the right one. Okay. All right. So let me know if you need to stop it at any point, or if you need the sound to go up. So there's that full Daily Planet staff.
Oh yeah.
There's a bunch of people looking out at something. We don't know what yet. I don't know who this guy is with the sunglasses.
We've got a guy with the sunglasses, kind of a Bermuda shirt going on.
He looks like a researcher of some kind, I guess.
He does.
So, and then we have text, teaser trailer
online tomorrow. Now, again, this was past tomorrow, not tomorrow.
Not like this is not happening like tomorrow.
It's not happening imminently. That was the past.
No, yes. So I have a couple of things. So we will look at some images from that trailer if I can get to them. I don't like this new StreamYard setup with the way they have our media assets in here. So let me try to scroll up and find some of the screenshots from this. So we had our first look at the Daily Planet staff here. And Lois Lane, obviously in the front, as she should be, front and center. And then we have Kat Grant to her left.
Boy, that's a wig.
It's very wiggy. It's
very wiggy. I'm so sorry. It's not working it. I gotta be honest.
it's very, very wiggy. I will say on the outset, she's got the heels on. She's got like this form-fitting dress with the cleavage.
She's looking very Kat Grant.
She does look very Kat Grant. I am curious about her eyeglasses. Are they cat eyeglasses like Callista had on the show? Because I thought that was like a perfect choice for me to have the cat eye eyeglasses. That was such a nice touch. So I'll be curious to see what kind of glasses she is wearing. Also, we see Jimmy Olsen to Lois's to our right, Lois's left shoulder. Jimmy is over there, looking pretty good for Jimmy Olsen. And then Steve Lombard is behind Lois Lane with the mustache there. And then behind Kat Grant is Ron Troop. So we're getting a good look at all of the Daily Planet staff. So I'm very excited to see them all together. It's a really cool shot to show this group and this cast of characters. So I think they're looking good. Do you have any thoughts, Morgan?
I think the whole cast looks really good. I like that we're getting like the full Daily Planet like news pen, that it's like populated by people. Usually we only get like, we'll get like a Lois, we'll get a Perry, we'll get a Jimmy. Sometimes we get like a Cat popping in, but like we're going Steve Lombard. We got Ron Troop. We're going full out on the cast of characters in the Daily Planet. And I think it's looking really good.
Yeah, and I like that the newsroom looks a little messy. Newsrooms should look a little messy because they are messy. They're not these clean workspaces.
Exactly.
There's a lot of people, and people are not usually very tidy in some of these places. So a newsroom should look messy. So this looks about right. I am curious about what these other people. How many are these all like? Reporters? Are these all people writing articles? What are these other people doing?
Maybe reporters, maybe like assistants or like news, like photo editors or stuff like that.
Yeah, what are these people doing on the right on their screens and their keyboards? Like, what do they do? I'm kind of curious now.
Let's do a day in the life of everybody.
Yes, I agree. I think we should have a whole thing about everyone who works at the Daily Planet, all the normies.
I like that Steve has a mustache. I'm just gonna put that out there. It feels like a very correct Steve Lombard thing to have a mustache.
Yeah, I think he's usually depicted with a mustache. But I would have to go back through and look at his comic iterations. But yeah, he's very Steve Lombard back there. So I like that a lot. Let's see if I have any screenshots of anything else from this teaser trailer. Okay, so I think this is the one that had a lot of the crowd reactions. These were the shots that sort of took me out of this trailer. I get it. People are probably like looking at some sort of fight or something that's happened. Maybe they're looking at Superman reacting to something. But this is the stuff, and I'm trying not to be real hard on this movie so far because I haven't seen it in full, so I can't really comment on it. But these shots took me out of like, oh, this could be a movie to, oh, this looks like a TV show. Just the way it's shot and the way it's colored and some of the stuff. These shots would have fit right in with like a CW Arrowverse show. So I do knock it a little bit because this looks more like television to me. So that's just my critique on some of the way it's shot. But maybe when I see it in full, it will look a little better.
Yeah, it's shot together for a trailer, so we don't know how much of this is all like in short succession in the movie or if it's in like a different order. But I can see your point. Everybody's kind of like, huh?
Yeah, it just reminded me so much of the Arrowverse, and I was like, I was kind of hoping this would be like a more cinematic experience. And maybe some of it will be. For these shots, it looked a little rough. Also, we get this shot of these unknown people here. Not sure who exactly these characters are supposed to be, but the way it pushed into them, it makes me think these are important people. it sort of looks like research to me, but I don't know what they would be researching. Are they part of Luthor Corp? Are they connected somehow to the bad guys in this movie? I don't know why I jumped to immediately like researchers or bad guys, but
No, I think research makes sense because it's like they have files in their hands. There's like a looks like maybe like a laptop behind them. They're in like a tarp area, so it's giving me like a archaeological dig kind of vibes, like
Yeah.
maybe out there looking at something that just popped up and like trying to figure out what it is. I'm also assuming a lot from just like a pop tent.
So if this was my movie, do you know who I would have this guy on the left become?
Ooh, who?
Mr. Bones.
Oh yeah,
This could be the DEO.
this could be the DEO.
I mean, he's not in his like sharp suit era yet.
Not
with the
yet.
tie,
Not
but
yet.
this could be Mr. Bones. Like
This could be a casual Mr. Bones.
so
This is
that's
Mr. Bones on vacation.
so I would, if this was my movie, this would be the DEO, and he would be future director Bones. So that's who I would have that be. So I think those are all kind of the major shots in that teaser to the teaser trailer that I think that we can talk about. Is there anything in the chat that people are bringing up that we need to discuss?
Let's see. Rachel says favorite thing about this trailer by far is crypto.
Okay, we
course,
haven't
that's the longer trailer.
That's the official teaser trailer. We'll talk about crypto for sure.
I see Mine the Gap says, honestly, I never heard color grading as much as I did the week this movie came out. I think that there was a lot of discussion about the colors in the various trailers and how bright or non-bright they were, or how muted or different colors they were. Yeah, everybody has opinions about color grading. It seems like nowadays. I remember that there was also a big discussion about color grading when like the Wicked trailer came out, and people were like, "It's not colorful enough." So I feel like the movie was the actual finished product of that was actually pretty colorful. So people might be like getting a little up in arms about the color grading before seeing the whole thing. But
yeah, and the thing to keep in mind that I have to remember is that these trailers are a work in progress. Like they don't have the finished locked product as of yet, so they may still be playing with some of that. They may be adjusting things as they go. A shot in a first trailer may not look the same as the shot in the last trailer or the shot that's actually in the movie. So I always have to keep that in mind as well. And Kenny chimes in to say, I like the bright colors for Superman 2025. At least for me, the DCEU, especially at the beginning, didn't have too much color to the films. I will say that I would politely disagree with you, Kenny, about not much color in the earlier films. I think there's a lot of color in Man of Steel. There's a lot of color, especially in Batman v Superman. Oh my gosh, the greens in that movie are incredible. But I think the thing also to remember, at least from my perspective, like with Man of Steel, there was an intentional reason why that movie looked the way it did, because it was trying to portray a Superman story as a very realistic thing. They were trying to go for a more realistic look to it. So it did have a certain way that it was colored to reflect that. So it's possible that the Gunn movie, the Gunn take on Superman, is a more hyper realistic, almost really trying to go for the comic booky look. So maybe that's part of it. I just wish it didn't look like a TV show. So I don't know how you fix that. I don't know if you fix that with true blacks. I don't know if you fix that with lighting. But that's just me with my particular kind of, when I looked at it, I was like, oh, wow, this does not look like a movie to me. But that's just my personal opinion. So it could change as it goes along. So that was just my initial reaction to that trailer. Any other thoughts before we go to the longer, more official one?
I think it was like a good teaser for the official trailer. I think like we have been talking about how there hadn't been much up until now, and they could have just dropped a full trailer and been like, that's a day. But I do appreciate that they did a teaser trailer to kind of get people hyped for the trailer. Yeah, like it had been a little bit quiet on the Superman front. We were like, "Where's the trailer? Where's the trailer?" So I'm glad that they took that step of giving us a teaser trailer before the real long trailer.
Yeah, that seems to be the trend now, is you have to give a little something to get people excited about the release of the trailer. So you do it the day before, or right up until then. I do think the music is very good in this. The way it sort of has that sort of ethereal, sort of reflective sound to it. It's trying to set a tone that makes for an emotional experience, and so I think that it did a good job of showing the visuals and not having to say anything, because there's no dialogue in this. So you're just having to look at the visuals and understand what's happening from that. So I think that it does a good job on that front. Okay, so I'm going to pull up this official teaser trailer. Now, this is like the official trailer, not just the trailer to the trailer. So let me get this pulled up, ready to go. Official teaser trailer. Actually, let me close one of these because I've got two pulled up. All right, so stop me anytime, Morgan, if you need to stop and talk about something, or we can just kind of talk over what we're seeing. It's up to you, but just let me know if I need to stop it at any point.
Sure.
All right, I'm going to go full screen, and I'm going to hit play. So I'm assuming all of this is Fortress of Solitude somewhere.
Yeah, this all
seems a lot of snow, Arctic.
We got Superman, a beat up Superman.
Should he have created a larger crater?
It does feel that way. Yeah, it does feel like he should have
feels a little small.
A larger crater. His Clark Kent hair is intense, like very curly,
very different, probably from
sort
his
of
Superman
mop-like
look.
on his on his head.
How do you feel about this electric guitar?
I actually like it. Let's go right back to the 80s, baby. Take me back.
It is a very different take, because it is the Williams theme, just real slowed down.
Yeah, I like the version of the Williams theme they have in this. It's funky.
Yeah.
And if you're going to use something that like recognizable, you want to put your own spin on it.
Yeah, I would rather you put your own spin. I think it's a little lazy, but I'd rather they put their own spin on it. So Superman's doing a super whistle. When you saw this for the first time, did you think it was crypto? Did you know?
I did not think it was crypto. I was like, what is happening? And he's so cute. I like that he licks him. So dog of him.
So I get our first looks at Lex and Luthor Corp. And then there's a global situation happening.
Somebody's throwing what looks like a can of soup at Superman's head. Nathan Fillion in the weirdest suit I've ever seen.
Green Lantern and Hawk Girl. Some Clark and Lois.
It looks like Kellex is once again biting it.
So some people think that is Kellex. We'll talk about the robots there.
They're in a field. They're in like a baseball field or a football field.
So I want you to pay attention to the end of this with the text, just because I'm curious what your thoughts are on this.
Filmed for IMAX.
Okay, so
only in theaters, but filmed for IMAX.
So what I noticed at the end of IMAX, what I noticed about those trailers was that it never had the title of the movie in it.
Oh my God, you're right.
So I understand that most people probably, because the Superman S shield is like the second most recognizable symbol in the world next to the Christian cross. I understand that. But also there are people in the world who think that Batman should be in the Avengers movies. So I feel like you have to hold people's hands a little bit with these. Like you have to put Superman as a title at the end of your trailer, so people, and it also like reinforces your brand and reinforces what this is. It's weird to me that the title of the movie is not there at the end of this trailer. So I don't know if they're going to be airing it like that in showing it like that in theaters or airing it like that on television and TV spots. But I'm like, put the title of your movie in there. What
I
are
know.
you doing?
I know we all know it's Superman, but like, it wouldn't be bad to put the title, I guess. Like, let's get that in there.
I feel
I
like
didn't even
you
notice
should
it
maybe.
though. I guess to be fair, I didn't notice it at all. I was like, yeah, Superman movie. Like, I didn't even notice that they didn't actually say Superman.
I think it's unprofessional. That's what I'm saying. I think it is bad form and unprofessional. Also, I think my biggest critique for this trailer is at the end of it. It has a shot of there's a whole thing in the trailer. It says "look up," and there's a shot where Superman flies up in the air, and you're looking up at him as he flies in the air, and that should be the end of the trailer. Look up.
Yeah, I
You're
think
looking up.
I think
And-
I agree with you.
And it goes from looking up into the sky at Superman, and then it stops, and then there's a shot of Clark and Lois at the end. I'm like, why is this there? Put this shot somewhere else in the trailer. End it with the look up. So I have major editing critiques, and this is me as somebody who's been editing professionally for over 20 years. So I just want to point that out, that I'm not just some goober who has like lots of things to hate about this trailer. From an editing perspective, it bothers me that it like didn't end on that note. So that was my
perfect button missed.
it should have like said look up and then cut to the shot of Superman flying up in the air.
That would have been perfect.
It
I
would have
been
been
like,
perfect.
Bravo.
And because that's your last shot of any video that you make, in any last shot of any movie you make, is the most important shot that you're going to have in that, because that's what the people are going to leave with. So if it's like, oh, that would have been an amazing shot that would have ended on it, but then you cut to Clark and Lois for some unknown reason that had nothing to do with people looking at it was driving me crazy. So that was that. Did you have any things that stuck out to you, Morgan, about this trailer? Anything you wanted to talk about, that you had questions about, that you had feelings about?
Obviously, crypto. Let's start with crypto.
Okay.
I love crypto. I'm obsessed with crypto. I think that for me, when I saw this trailer, the thing that stood out to me and the thing that I still remembered was that scene early in the trailer where Superman flies down into presumably somewhere around the Fortress of Solitude, all hurt, and he calls out to his best boy Crypto to take him home, and Crypto's like, got it, I'm a good boy, and he takes him home. And I was like, oh, Crypto, start crying. No, I think that part was so good. I think it's so smart of them to use it in the trailer. We've never seen Crypto in like a Superman movie before, I don't think.
We've seen him in live action on Titans.
Yes, we've seen him in
TV
live
show.
action on Titans, although technically I haven't. I have to get to Titans at some point in my life. But he's never been in one of the big movies. I'm sure a lot of people don't know that much about Crypto, so I think it's fun to be like, hey, here's something new that we're different, like something different that we're bringing into it. We're getting Crypto.
I guess technically we also saw him in an animated version of DC League of Super Pets with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
That is true. We did go see that movie, and we do love Lulu now.
Well, Lulu was the big takeaway from that movie.
Lulu, our queen. And Rachel makes a point in the chat. She says, this is the Crypto we're going to see in Woman of Tomorrow, I would assume.
Yes,
so,
this is Supergirl's dog. So he's helping out Superman at this point. But this is Supergirl's dog.
Listen, Supergirl gets all the pets because she's the best. So yeah, I think that was for me, if you ask me like what was the big thing that I brought away from the trailer. It sounds ridiculous, but it was this Crypto scene. And I was seeing, online a lot of talk of this Crypto scene. I think it was, for most people, the sort of takeaway that they brought from the trailer too is that this scene with Crypto was so like kind of heartwarming and got us kind of amped for the movie. That's on my list of goods. On my list of like question marks.
Yeah.
There are a lot of characters in this movie, huh? Like a lot of characters that aren't just Superman and my boy Crypto. Like a lot of characters. I came out of the trailer feeling pretty good, feeling pretty pumped, really excited to see the movie. And my overwhelming question was, that's a lot to squeeze into one movie, it feels like. Just a little worried too.
Why not? You can have 100 characters in a
Let's
movie.
get
It's
them all
fine.
in. I was like, oh no, don't do it.
So are you worried this won't be a tight 90?
I'm assuming it's not going to be a tight 90. Nothing is anymore. I've come to terms with it. That's why I watch old movies occasionally just to remember what a tight 90 feels like. Nothing is
old
like
days.
under 2 hours anymore that like they make anymore. They're like, sure, like just add more stuff in. It's like, you don't have to. It's fine if you don't. No, it does feel like a lot of characters, a lot of like situations that to get into the first movie in this new universe, our first introduction to this version of Superman, I would have been fully comfortable with it just being Superman and like a villain, maybe Lex Luthor, Daily Planet. I'm good. Crypto, obviously, best boy. Maybe he's like the second biggest character in the movie.
He's like the co-lead of the movie.
Yeah, maybe it's like Superman, Crypto, and then like Lois Lane. I'm in for that movie. I'll watch that whole movie. Yeah, I was surprised to see my girl, Hawk Girl.
Oh she makes an appearance. Yeah,
I'm excited. I hope that we find out about her true love, which is being a barista, and that she's opened her own coffee shop. I hope her and Hawk Bro are working out, or maybe not working out. You never know with those two. I'm truly so shocked to see a Hawk Girl. I actually went, Hawk Girl? Upon first watching this trailer. What? What are you doing here?
So Hawk Girl are in this movie. Hawk Girl is in this movie. And then Green Lantern, Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, played by Nathan Fillion, who finally gets to play Green Lantern in live action. He's played Green Lantern in animation for a while, but it seems like they are part of a team. I think this is a team put together by Maxwell Lord. Somebody can correct me in the chat if that is incorrect. But it seems like they are separate from Superman, so they may have some kind of beef with Superman. Superman seems to be outside of whatever this is and independent from them. So I don't know if that's going to be a storyline that's played into it.
I see Mind the Gap says, I think that Maxwell Lord's Justice League International is their standard type superhero, corporate military type hero, and Superman and the Trinity operate by themselves. So
yeah, so I assume there's going to be conflict between those two groups because of it.
Like, yeah.
So, yeah, and then also we get to see Mr. Terrific. He is also in this movie. He looks good. I mean, all these characters.
Yeah.
I mean, they look good. And I think Mr. Terrific also might be part of Maxwell Lord's if this is Justice League International. So it seems like he is also part of that. So they all look like those characters, but I'm with you. Like, I would be fine if they weren't in this movie. That I think the idea is to set up and establish a world where Superman exists with all of these superheroes. That's great. But like, you don't have to do that.
Yeah, but
I'm fine without it.
I like we all here like Superman so much. We don't need extra superheroes in a Superman movie. It feels like gilding the lily to me, but that's fine. That's fine. I was on record as being like a little Lobo, but not too much, you know. So I feel the same way as in the Superman movie, where I'm like, all right, we're adding like a lot of people in, right? Like I don't need all this, but cool. And I see Andy in the chat said, I think Maxwell Lord will have superheroes in the way that The Boys has Vought, which is sort of the evil conglomerate that has all these superheroes in the Amazon show The Boys. So I could see that as being the case.
Yeah, so that seems to be maybe where they might have some beef with Superman. I guess, Morgan, what are your thoughts? Because I know you, like me, are a big Lois Lane fan. So we get some Lois in this trailer, working at the Daily Planet and also with Clark. So what are your first thoughts about Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane?
I think Rachel Brosnahan. How do you pronounce her last name? Is it Brosnahan?
Brosnahan, yeah.
Okay, I think she looks great. I watched a little bit of Marvelous Miss Maisel, but not much, to be honest. I didn't get. I don't know if I even finished the first season, but I thought she was great. So when they cast her, I was like, oh, that's fun. She's like a really good actress. I wish we saw more Lois doing reportery things in the trailer. We see her in the Daily Planet a little bit, and then a lot of it is like her and Clark like kissing, her and
Yeah.
Clark like kissing in the air, her and Clark like kissing in the kitchen, her and Clark like holding hands. And I was like, that's so cool. I'm so glad that their relationship is like rock solid. I love it. I love it for them. I love it for their journey. I do love investigative reporter Lois Lane though, and I would have loved to see Lois like getting into a shenanigan, you know?
Oh
Just
yeah, okay.
one shenanigan in the trailer, just like where you're like, Lois, you shouldn't be there and you're about to die, and she's like, I'll be okay, and you're like, no you won't. That's sort of classic Lois Lane. I know that she's in the Daily Planet. I'm sure we will see her doing a lot of reporting, but I wish we had just squeezed in like just a little extra pinch of Lois Lane investigative reporter in this trailer instead of a lot of Lois Lane Superman's girlfriend.
I mean, she's reading the newspaper though.
She is
Morgan.
reading the newspaper, and she works for the newspaper, so I've got the connection of newspaper. So I've got that.
And I like that they're still going with newspapers.
Yeah, sure. They technically exist still. How retro, how fun.
It's timeless. You never know what time period this is.
Could you imagine if like the trailer revealed that like Lois Lane is now like a TikTok reporter or something? I just throw myself out a window.
Wasn't that kind of how she was in the Tomorrowverse Crisis movies? Wasn't I feel like there was a scene where she was doing
you might
something
be right.
with her phone.
like a live from the scene.
Like, Lois, there are dinosaurs coming in from a time travel portal. I don't think anybody's watching the internet.
Like I think that there's other things that they're sort of focusing on right now, Lois, but it's cool that your gram numbers are growing.
So there is a little bit of Lois there. I agree. I wish we got to see more of Lois doing something, but I guess that's for a future trailer. We did get some Clark Kent in this one, so we get to see him going to the Daily Planet, which is we've gotten to see the exterior of the Daily Planet, the front door. With the globe hanging above it. And it looks pretty retro as well. So I like the look of that. And then we get to see the Daily Planet with the globe on top of the building. So they're going very much in the comic book realm, which I think is a very valid take and something that we haven't seen really in these movies before. We saw like touches of it in Superman Returns, but both the Donnerverse and the Snyderverse were going for more of a almost a realistic take on Superman in terms of just what it would be like if he worked at a newspaper, if he worked at a real place. Although I would argue that the Donnerverse is more Silver Age and the Snyderverse is more Modern Age, Bronze Age. So there are differences there, but we do get to see some of the Daily Planet, which is nice. And I guess while we're here, we should probably talk about Superman because this is his movie and he's in a lot of it. So we do get to see him causing a small crater, a very small crater with his super landing. And we also see that he's bleeding while he's there, which is interesting to me because I think that I hope this is not a spoiler for people. So if it is, give me like 3-5 seconds and then we'll kind of move on. But I think the character Ultraman is supposed to be in this movie. And Ultraman, I had to do a little digging on him just to kind of understand his connection with kryptonite. Apparently, Ultraman is the opposite of Superman in that he is powered by kryptonite and he is weakened by the sun. So if he is actually, I think he might be fighting Ultraman in the baseball stadium in the shot that we see of the Meteors, the Metropolis Meteors baseball stadium. So I wonder if the bleeding is caused by him fighting Ultraman, who is powered by kryptonite. That's my guess. I don't know if that's right, but that's kind of what I was trying to get out of that. So this shot of Ultraman fighting Superman, I was like, James Gunn is such a fan of Zack Snyder. It's really nice to see. Then we also see Superman holding what looks like a robot. This could be, some people think this is Kellex. I am of the opinion that this might be a robot in the Fortress of Solitude because, Superman has Superman robots in the Fortress of Solitude, much like Linda Lee in the Silver Age of Supergirl comics has Linda robots that she hides in the tree when she needs to get outside of the orphanage. So I think this is also maybe an All-Star Superman where there are robots with the blue capes. So I think this is more of what that is. So whoever this is, Superman is very attached to this particular robot who looks a little worse for wear. But I do agree with you, Morgan. If this is Kellex, this is on brand for Kellex.
Poor Kellex, he can't catch a break. This is why I think it's Kellex, by the way, because he's dead. Kellex, in every version, Kellex is like, hello, it's me, I'm here to help you. And every version, like 5 minutes later, it's like, oh no, I am dying. Kellex, no.
Except for that one time he became a garbage monster. But then I think he also didn't he die from
I think
that?
they reprogrammed him at the end. They were like, we're just gonna do some like light reprogramming from garbage monster into back into Kellex, like a reverse makeover.
Also with Superman, we see a pretty cool shot of him saving a little girl from a disaster of some kind that is befallen Metropolis, I am assuming. So that's a pretty nice way to show a heroic save from Superman there. So like that a lot. We also, this is kind of, I think, connected to Superman because it looks like he's flying there in the left side of the screen, but he's fighting a giant dragon monster of some kind. Morgan, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, this was another puzzler for me during the trailer. When the first time I watched it, I went, is that a dragon? Was that Godzilla? And listen, I love Godzilla. So if this is indeed a Godzilla-like monster, I'm torn on whose side I should be on. I love my chonky boy. But yeah, no, I was very confused about this monster. I was like, okay, now we've got like kaiju. Now we've got like monsters coming out of the woodwork. But so much is happening in this trailer. It's really hard to figure out what this movie's about. But I can't say I hate it. I do love a good monster. I do love Superman having to fight a giant monster tromping around Metropolis. So, although this does seem like, wow, another thing in this trailer, this one I'm willing to go along with. Like the other superheroes, I was like, why are they here? And then you show me like a giant Godzilla-like monster, and I'm like, no, he can stay.
Yeah, this may be a Lex Luthor project gone bad. This might be a way to try to stop Superman somehow. I don't know, but it does seem like some sort of experiment has gone wrong here.
It does. He's got his face is not like cute. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
he's a real smush in. He looks like he's gone like a science experiment gone wrong. I love him though. But.
Yeah, this is a kind of an ugly creature, so not super cute.
Kenny says this dragon monster is very Silver Age, but he's no Spike.
Yeah, I think that's a valid point that it does kind of the zaniness of the Silver Age. I think is probably an influence there. But yeah, Spike the Dragon was very very
one
fun
of a kind
because Spike could be a dragon, but then he could like shrink down and become like a little cute little lizard guy,
which is handy, honestly.
Yeah.
I see Andy in the chat said, "What do you think of the theory that we see Supergirl in the robot's reflection?"
Oh,
I had not heard this theory, and I don't see it.
Where in the reflection? Yeah, where in the reflection?
Andy, where is she? Because I don't see her.
I kind of see something in the head,
maybe in the helmet section, like
the lower right of the head.
Yeah, the lower right,
there
like
might
somebody
be
is like standing off to the side. But I think to say that is Supergirl is certainly a stretch.
A little bit of a stretch.
I don't know, man.
But I like the idea that maybe if this is Kellex, we're just like writing our own story here.
Yeah,
this
for
is
sure.
Kellex is dying. Superman is there comforting him, and Supergirl might be off to the side, like upset that Superman has let Kellex die. I don't know. I like the idea of that. I don't know that we can confirm that is her, but that's an interesting thought. I do think that we have the rumors are probably pretty strong that Supergirl is in this movie. I don't have confirmation one way or the other that Supergirl makes an appearance here in this Superman movie, but the fact that her movie, the Supergirl movie, comes right after this, I imagine that they feel the need to tease her in some kind of way in this movie. That's a probable thing that will probably happen. So I imagine that she's in it somehow. So it's possible she could. I mean, it makes sense that she would be in the Fortress of Solitude with Superman. I could buy that.
She certainly could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
She could be like, oh, hey, no, not Cal-X again.
Yeah. So that is something that could definitely happen. Are there any comments before we move on? I'm trying to see if I can find that comment to remove it.
Let's see. Oh,
Yeah, okay.
I hit it. Bye.
Yes. Okay. Good. All right. So what else do we need to hit on here? We talked a little bit about Superman. We talked about Lois. Okay, let's talk about the Kent farm. So my thought on this Kent farm is I'm confused about the direction of these movies, because this movie seems to be going for more of the comic book feel and look to it. But here, this shot with the Kent farm, which is smaller and more like one level, usually the Kent farm is depicted as like maybe having 2 floors and then there's a barn nearby. This one is a lot smaller, and which is fine, but it seems to be going more in the realistic depiction of it. So I'm confused. Is this supposed to be realistic, or is this supposed to be more like a comic book, more of a comic book vibe to this movie? So I'm a little conflicted about like what the Kent farm looks like here.
It's a pretty small house, actually.
Which is fine. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm there's nothing wrong with it. I'm confused.
I
that
always
this
think
is
of, like,
more realistic.
I guess think of like the Smallville version of the Kent farm, and I guess I'm just thrown off by like, where's the barn? Where's the barn where he and Lana are going to have their conversations about secrets and lies? I don't
Where he spies on Lana through his telescope.
exactly
That he doesn't need because he has supervision.
totally normal behavior.
Yeah. So as of right now, we do not see a Kent farm barn here, but there is a nice shot with Clark and who looks to be Pa Kent, Jonathan Kent. So they're both kind of looking like farm boys here. So it's a nice shot with the sun in front of them. So I like that a lot. So it looks like there will be some kind of emotional moment between Clark Kent and Jonathan Kent. What are the odds that Jonathan Kent survives this movie?
0%. I think that there's 0% odds that Jonathan Kent even makes it halfway through the movie. I think he's going real fast. I think he's going like first third of the movie. He might even go in like a montage before the movie starts. It's just like, Papa, no.
I think, it's the temptation to kill Jonathan Kent. I understand that. But like Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman with Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher, Jonathan and Martha both are in that show. They're both living and thriving and coming to Metropolis all the time. So you don't have to kill Jonathan.
I get that we want to kill Jonathan Kent. I feel like we want his blood, but maybe some versions can let him live. It's fine if he lives. He's not Uncle Ben, right? He's like, it's not imperative to it's not the Waynes. It's not imperative to the story that he dies. Like if he lives, the story continues pretty much the same way, only he's got a dad. Like there's really, it's not like Jonathan Kent on his deathbed is always like, with great power, Clark, comes great responsibility. Like I feel like he could get there without Papa Kent dying, but I do feel like there's 0% chance he makes it alive through this movie.
Yeah, everybody pray for Jonathan Kent here. It's not looking good here. Okay, so we talked about some of the heroes and some of the good guys in this movie. Let's talk about the villains. So what are your first thoughts about this new Lex Luthor that we are getting?
I like the actor whose name I am currently forgetting. Nicholas
Hoult. Yep.
Yeah, I've seen him in a lot of stuff, and whenever I try to think what exactly I've seen him in, it leaves my brain so quickly. But I've seen him in a lot of things, and I think that he's a good actor. I guess he was just recently in the Nosferatu. I think I know him more from the Hulu show The Great, which I unfortunately did not watch more than like 2 seasons of. I think I have to catch up, even though it was canceled. And he was great in The Menu from a couple years ago. So I think he's a really good actor. He can play like really kind of like out there, like wacky parts. And he can play, I've seen him play sort of more villainous parts before. So I think he would be a good Lex Luthor. I see that they're going full bald cap on him. Sure, let's do it.
Full bald head, wearing a suit. Maybe he went to a gala of some kind, some sort of fancy party, and then he goes home and then he wants to shoot somebody. That makes sense to me. They went also full cool temperature with the color here, with the blues, which I think is appropriate for Lex Luthor. It also looks like he has a ring on, which is interesting on his finger. That
Ooh,
could be
that could be a troublesome ring.
Maybe that's what makes Superman bleed later if he attaches some kryptonite on it. I don't know, but that is he's wielding a gun. He's dressed to the nine, wielding a gun that feels right for a Luthor. So I feel good about his Lex Luthor so far. So I am interested to see where they take him. Also worth noting, it's Luthor Corp, not Lex Corp here. So, so that is something to note. But it looks cool. I think it looks, very Man of Tomorrow, world of, city of the future kind of thing. Very high up. Luthor Corp or Lex Corp is always very high, one of the tallest buildings in Metropolis. So I think that's a good contrast to Superman, who also can get very high and is also the Man of Tomorrow. So to parallel Lex and Superman in that way, I think is very good. One thing I had a question about is this some destruction that's happening in this movie? I feel you get very angry about this.
That building's not looking good.
There's a lot of destruction here. How dare they show destruction in a Superman movie? Oh my gosh, we should get all up in arms about it.
I feel like we have all become so desensitized towards that happening in big budget superhero movies now, though, that like didn't even it probably won't even register.
I'm going to get really mad about this, and I'm going to talk about it for years and years and years, maybe a decade. I'm going to dwell on this and get very upset about it and talk about it every time I talk about this movie. So that is what I'm going to do, just letting everybody know. Also, in regards to some other characters, I should have put this guy up with the Justice League members, but there was also another character who was introduced. So this is now possibly the fourth character that might be in the Justice League. Metamorpho is going to be making an appearance. So
I have no idea. I'm not sure that I know who he is.
Metamorpho can turn into elements. So his body changes into different elements based on like if he I think if like he grabs like a steel door or something, his body turns into steel. Or if he I think if he grabs wood, I think he can turn into like a wood, like his body becomes wood, those kind of different things. So he's a hero. And he's associated, I think he becomes Metamorpho because of his interaction with Stag Industries or Stag Enterprises, which I think is featured in one of the shots in this trailer. So we possibly also, Morgan, might get the origin story of Metamorpho here in the Superman movie. So
it's a lot to squeeze into one movie, but I guess I'm ready.
So we can look forward to that. I was interested in the global aspect of this movie. So we're going to get introduced to the country of Baravia, which is a country in DC Comics. It's kind of a fictional character that sometimes they play in with that world. So we're going to be seeing what's happening in Baravia, however you say that. And we're also getting GBS News. So I don't know if this is where Clark and Lois are working inside the Daily Planet, or if the GBS has anything to do with the Daily Planet, but Clark and Lois did work for GBS News at one point. So in the comics, I should say. So we got a little screenshot of the news report that was happening that mentions Baravia and also GBS News. So I thought that was interesting on the comic book front. So do we have any thoughts about anything else before we move on to the chat?
I do feel like I should amend something. Andy has let me know that Nicholas Hoult shaved his head. I
He-
said bald cap.
He went full Michael Rosenbaum for this.
He
That's
went
great.
method. He went full method.
Good
He
for
went
him.
Rosenbaum on it. Good for
Yeah,
him. I
You
like to see
you
that
really
commitment.
you really can't just do the bald cap. I think if you're gonna play Lex Luthor, you really have to go
You got to really commit
full.
to the lifestyle.
Yeah.
The Luthor lifestyle.
You have to feel what Lex would feel. You would have to know that his head would get cold sometimes. I think that plays
Sometimes
into
his head is chilly, and that
yeah.
makes him angry.
I have since my cancer treatment, I found that I have a very high respect for people who have bald heads because your head does when you don't have hair, your head gets cold. Your head will get cold. So I totally respect people who have to deal with that on the regular. So Lex Luthor probably his head's cold all the time, I feel
He's
like.
chilly. He's
Yeah.
chilly all the time.
So that's probably why he's very angry. Because
Probably.
his head is cold, I think.
It's one of the great tragedies is being chilly kind of all the time.
He's not really mad at or angry at Superman. He's just
No.
angry at his own situation.
He's just like, I'm so chilly.
My head
Whose
is so
fault
cold.
is this?
So yeah, I think this is a good first trailer. I have my editing critiques about where they should have cut it. But I think this is a very good first look. It gives us looks at all the characters and the world and the way that the movie is going to look and sort of the tone of things, including with the music. So I think it's a good first introduction to what this world is going to look like, which is kind of interesting for us as Supergirl fans looking forward to the Woman of Tomorrow movie. That this Woman of Tomorrow will exist in this kind of world. So it'll be interesting to see how the tone in the Superman movie compares to the tone and look and the cinematic feel to the Woman of Tomorrow movie. So, Morgan, do you have any final thoughts before we close out the trailer section of this episode?
I see that Mind the Gap said, I also wonder if the glowing light in the sky is supposed to be Solaris. Now, I'm not familiar with what that is.
The glowing light in the sky. Are we talking about the shot with
think the
Clark
shot
and Lois?
With Clark and Lois, and then the glowing light outside of the window.
So I've seen some people suggest that might be a sun eater. You remember the baby sun eaters?
Yes.
Supergirl?
I love the baby sun eater.
It could be a sun eater. It could be like a Lex Luthor thing. It's purple and green, so it looks like it might be some sort of Lex Luthor experiment of some kind. I've also heard a theory on YouTube that somehow this is connected to Brainiac. I don't know. I feel like that's a stretch because we don't fully know if Brainiac. I mean, why not put Brainiac in this movie?
Why
I feel like
not?
you could put him in this movie, but we don't have any sense that he's
Squeeze
in
him
this
in.
movie. But to me, it looks like a Lex Luthor or something or other because it's purple and green. So I don't know. It could be a Lex Luthor Sun Eater. I think that would be amazing.
That would be really fun.
Let's make that happen.
We already have like a Godzilla. Why not a Sun Eater?
I feel like Lex is just trying to figure out ways to kill Superman because he's jealous that Superman has hair and Superman's head's not
He's
cold.
like, his head looks so warm. I must destroy him.
So he's trying to find all the ways to kill Superman. It looks like Kenny's saying it's from All-Star Superman. So they could be pulling a lot from All-Star Superman. Maybe before the movie comes out, maybe we read All-Star Superman.
Yeah.
Would you want to do that just to get prepared?
I love that idea. Yeah, because I
Okay.
haven't read it, so it would be new to me. And then I could be kind of annoying after I see the movie, being like, they didn't do that in All-Star Superman. That was different in the comic book, like no big thing. I just know about it.
I think we should do it just so you could be annoying about it.
That's always what I want to do. Like that's the only reason I ever do research.
Kenny also has a question about David Cornsweet's Superman suit. And we'll get there. And also, I think before we get to talking about the suit, we should talk about Mind the Gap's comic.
That's why I gasped gently because I had read it. And Mind the Gap says Nasty Luthor is in All-Star Superman.
I mean, that's the reason to read it.
Does that mean that there is the potential, albeit small, that Nasty Luthor could be in this movie?
Game changer.
Game change. Listen, they're throwing a lot of people in this movie. And I say, why not Nasty Luther?
What I'm suggesting is get rid of all the Justice League characters.
Goodbye.
We don't have time for them.
Goodbye.
We have lots of time
We have
for
so
Nasty
much time.
Luther.
So much time for Nasty Luther. Let's get into it. Why is she so nasty?
I think that's amazing, and we should make that happen. So
I'm so
thank you
excited.
for that reminder. And I'm going to fix my headset real quick.
Sure.
But I think Kenny's question about the suit can lead us into the next section of what we're going to kind of look at from the early promotion of this movie, because they not only did Warner Brothers and the DC Studios release the 2 trailers, they also released a poster, and it's kind of also an animated poster as well. I don't know if I can make this go full screen. I feel like I can. And it was accompanied by the music that played in the trailer as well. So this is sort of a motion version of the poster. Morgan, what are your thoughts on this first official poster for the movie?
I think a motion poster is cool. I like to see it in, non-motion.
Oh, actually, I can pull that up as
okay,
well.
cool.
The IMDb thing also had just a still version of that. So let me. I think the colors look really nice on the animated version, with the going back and forth between all the primary colors. So this, can you see this? This is the the still version of the movie poster. So does this change your thoughts about it?
I think overall I like it. I like that the sort of the sense of movement in the poster. I like all of the colors. I like that we're sort of just focused on one figure, one thing in the middle of the poster. It's not like trying to squeeze in everybody's cameos. And I think it's like very clean, and I think it's exciting. It's like Superman, he's flying, and you get that sense of motion.
Yeah, I think the use of color here is good. I did think it was pretty funny that they did everything they could to hide the trunks on the Superman suit. Because
that is very true.
They're definitely trying to hide them here. But I don't think the suit is we haven't had like a really good look at the suit in still we've seen it in the motion of the trailer. Detail wise, I don't love the suit just because there's weird shoulder pad things, like bits of armor in the suit that I think is strange that they took maybe from the New 52. And the trunks are fine the way that they've used them, and it's in a different way that they're using the trunks. It's a different kind of version of the trunks. So if they're gonna add trunks back in, I'm kind of anti-trunk myself. I'm not pro trunk in any by any means, but I think the way that they use them here, I think is good. So it's I think the suit is fine. I don't think it's the greatest Superman suit I've ever seen in my life, and I think it's fine. So that's my thought on the suit. The poster, I think, is also fine. But when I look at this, it looks like a CW Arrowverse poster to me, with all of the lens flares and the little tagline at the bottom. All of the Arrowverse posters had that kind of thing on there. At least here they put the title of the movie on, so you know what this is.
Yes.
But
it would be funny if there was no title of the movie.
And it was just DC
even
Studios.
in the posters. You're like, what's it for?
Yeah. So I think it's a good looking poster. I just do think for me it echoes the Arrowverse, and I was kind of hoping that it would have more of a cinematic look to it. Just feels like they were like, who did the posters for the Arrowverse? Okay, let's get those people back. And those posters were not great by any means. I did not love some of those later posters for Supergirl. Look up a Supergirl season 5 poster and compare it to this, because it is very similar in the use.
I think I know what you're talking about.
The technology one.
Oh no, yeah, that one was rough. That one, I feel like that's unkind to this poster.
Yes,
I can see it, but that was That poster was rough. That poster was every character had a lens flare for no apparent reason.
Well, I agree with you. I'm glad that this was focused on Superman so that they didn't feel the need to squeeze everyone into the poster. A lot of movie posters do that these days, and it drives me nuts.
Just a bunch of little faces peering at you.
They're just like faces hovering behind the main character. So at least this one has some style to it. So I think this is a very good first attempt. They're definitely going for the tagline of "Look Up," which is like "Look up in the sky" as a bird playing Superman. So I think that's a good tagline for this film, and so they're definitely trying to lean into that. So I think that is a good way to go about it. It just echoes to me a look and aesthetic that goes with some posters that have traumatized me from my past watching the Arrowverse and watching Supergirl. So I'm trying not to be too negative on it.
CW trauma that we're working through as a podcast.
It just has that CW style to it. But that just could be me critiquing it too harshly. But I think it's a good looking first poster. So I'll be curious to see how they go about with future iterations, because I assume they're not going to just have one poster. Usually for these kind of movies, they have multiple variants of it. New Rachel in the chat says she was thinking more of the season 4 poster.
Now I looked up the season 4 poster, and I feel like that's a more complimentary,
Oh, that one. The season 4.
Season 4 poster was pretty good.
I think that was probably one of my favorite ones.
Same.
Just for people who do not remember what that looked like, I just found like an eBay version of it.
Yeah.
So it was the one with the red kind of background with some I don't know, some sort of texture stuff coming over her a little bit. But I think that's a really strong poster, honestly. So that's probably one of the better Supergirl posters, was that season 4 red poster. I really liked that one a lot. So that's actually being very kind, I think, to this Superman poster, to compare the season 4 Supergirl poster to it.
Yeah, I liked that one. I thought it was nice. She's sort of I can see the comparison. She's sort of centered in the middle of that poster, kind of like he is. But yes, there's much less lens flare in that one.
Yeah, in comparison, I'll just pull up the for the audio listener is gonna be like this. I'll put links in for the audio listener. But trying to pull up the Supergirl season 5 poster.
When I saw the season 5 poster again, I felt like I was having like sort of a flashback. I was like, no.
So see how like there's a lot of lens flares, and then there's like a tagline at the bottom of it, and then it has so it's just it has that same kind of way of going about it. Of course, we can also, just for comparison's sake, I think the earlier posters for Supergirl were way better than the later ones.
They got more like this one that we're looking at, more like everybody's crowded into the frame. There's tons of lens flare. I think the season 6 one was somehow even worse. Oh god.
Yeah, this is the season 6 one.
Yeah, in the season 6 one, Supergirl is not even like really the main. She's like a floating head above all the other characters. Like
Dreamer looks like the lead of the show.
Kind of looks like the lead of the show. Even Lena gets like almost a full body. Meanwhile, Supergirl is just a head. Her head is arguably almost the same size as Martian Manhunter's.
Yeah. And they squeezed Kelly in there just to get her.
Kelly, they sort of, it seems like they squeezed in almost as an afterthought. She's kind of like floating into Supergirl's face. This is for sure the worst poster they did. Somehow even worse than the season 5 one.
Yeah, they were not good towards the end. So at least the Superman poster is not the Supergirl season 6 poster. It could be worse.
Really bad. It could be worse. It could be worse. There could be like the giant Godzilla next to him, Mr. Terrific on one side.
Gotta put Jonathan Kent in there.
Hawk Girl is flying over top.
Green Lantern, Metamorpho. There's gonna be a variation of this poster
with everybody
in there.
The baby sun eaters off to the corner. Cal-X just dead across the bottom.
Why? What if they did character posters and they did one for crypto?
Oh my God,
I
yes.
would buy that.
I feel like they honestly, I think that they actually will do that because I think crypto was the runaway star of this trailer. I think everybody knows it, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do like an individual crypto poster. It feels like they'd be like, "Oh, everybody's loving crypto. We need to give him his own poster." And yes, you do, and yes, we are.
I think that's the poster I would buy. Maybe more so than the Superman one. I'd buy the crypto poster.
Yeah.
Even new Rachel in the chat says looking for a crypto solo poster. So hopefully we'll get to see more graphic design options as we go through it. Let's see. I just wanted to get to some other thoughts in the chat. Stanley asks, will this movie be very funny? I have no idea. I don't know what the tone is going to be. I think it's going to probably be a little more family friendly. It looks like it might be a little more comic booky. I imagine that James Gunn, coming from his Marvel background, will probably put a lot of humor in it, is my guess. But it does look like there are going to be some heartfelt, emotional moments, serious moments in this as well. So I have no idea about the humor, but that would be my guess, that there would be some of it in there.
Yeah, I would also guess that there'll be like some humor, but I think there's also going to be the more emotional moments, and also obviously a lot of action, as we can see from the trailer, because he's zipping around. There seems to be multiple monsters for him to fight, and Lex Luthor. So I don't know.
Lots going on.
Everybody in.
I think Nasty Luthor could be a contender.
I think Nasty Luthor is going to be the ultimate big bad.
Oh.
Like, what if you think the whole time that it's Lex Luthor that's like the villain, and then it's like, actually it's me, Nasty. I know him though.
This would be my ultimate like Nasty Luthor play. You have a movie where like Lex is the big bad, but Nasty Luthor at the end, she pulls like a Lena Luthor season 4 finale where Lena kills Lex. You remember that? And it was like it was so exciting because Lena became a villain for like 2 seconds. And then in season 5, they resurrected Lex and it was devastating. Yeah. But that's what I would do. I'd have Nasty Luthor pull a gun on Lex Luthor, shoot him, kill him dead. She's now the Luthor everybody has to deal with. She
spins around. She's like, it's the Nasty show now. No one would see it coming.
This Luthor is nasty. That would be her tagline, and I feel like
her tag. I'm already printing up T-shirts. I'm already printing up mugs.
That's our version of the movie. Is Nasty Luthor becomes a big bad.
Listen, is it perfect? Yes. Yes.
Full stop.
We stand by it.
So, we'll be disappointed if Nasty Luthor doesn't show up, but we'll have to just maybe she'll be there in an Easter egg somewhere.
She might. Yes. I'm holding out hope now.
Mind the Gap says, to me, it looks like the poster is trying to evoke those 80s sci-fi action genre posters. If Alex Ross or someone like that painted the poster, it would look even better. I think that's a very valid thing to point out, that it does kind of look like the 80s. Even Morgan, I think you pointed out the rock electric guitar of the Superman theme. So I don't know, is this movie set in the 80s, do you think?
I don't think so. It looks modern day to me. They're all like typing on like pretty normal looking laptops.
But they're selling newspapers. They're printing newspapers.
Well, to be fair, they do still print those. You can even go out and buy one
once a week or something.
Pretty much any day.
It's not a daily planet anymore. It's like a once a week.
It's like the weekly roundup.
The once a month planet is probably what more is like.
I mean, if it was modern day, I feel like that newspaper office should have been far more scarcely populated, and each one of those reporters should have been crying, just overworked and crying, doing the jobs of 10 people. But who knows?
It would be very interesting to see how far they take the newspaper game in this. Kitty also asks, do you think we will see Lena Luthor in the DCU? My guess is no.
No. I don't think. Listen, Nasty Luthor still a possibility.
We could work her in. I think if we want to be different.
Lena Luthor, I mean, maybe in a movie down the line. I feel like, again, I think Lena Luthor is a Supergirl character, and I would like to see her in a Supergirl film. If Superman gets Lena Luthor, that's it. I riot.
I will be so mad.
That is not for him.
I will be so mad. Lena Luthor, if you're going to go comic booky in this new universe, Lena Luthor is Linda's best friend. And so she should be in a Supergirl thing. But I don't think that we will see her, sadly. But if we're going All-Star Superman, we could get nasty. So I think it's very much a possibility.
She's in it.
I just want to give a shout out to Phil in the chat. Thanks for being here. And I hope you enjoyed the trailer as well. Well, Morgan, do we have any final thoughts about anything about what we have seen and talked about for this episode?
Overall, I was excited by the trailer. I really enjoyed it. I have some open questions about how many things are going on in this movie.
What is this movie about?
It's
what
just
is happening?
one movie, and there's a lot happening in it. So I am just a pinch nervous, but I think overall the trailer got me really excited. Did what it was supposed to do. It got me excited for the movie. It got me excited to see Crypto. Mostly, it got me excited to see Crypto, and I'm excited to see the other teases that they'll release as we get closer and closer to the movie coming out. Which at this point is this actual calendar year, so that's exciting.
It's happening this year.
It's happening. So this summer we're gonna get to see the movie, and I think that's exciting as well.
Although the Flash movie taught me never to assume.
Don't assume just because they say you're going to see a movie this year that you will.
Or even the Batgirl movie. You should not assume
that you'll ever see the movie.
So until I have a ticket in my hand and I'm eating popcorn and the opening titles come up, I will have my doubts. But I'm assuming at this point we are on the working theory that this movie will come out in July. So I am a Snyderverse girl through and through. I love that version of the DC universe, but I'm keeping my mind open for this new iteration. I once heard Michael Bailey of the Superman homepage and the Fortress of Baileytude podcast, one of the Superman experts I know. He knows a lot about Superman. He once told me that he considered different iterations, different adaptations of Superman to be, especially like live action or animation, to be akin to someone having a run on a character. So like the Snyderverse was Zack Snyder's run on Superman. This new version is James Gunn's run on Superman. And so I'm trying to look at it from that perspective. Like if I was opening these up as comic books, I would just be opening up a different run on the character. So that's kind of how I'm viewing this, is that I'm going into this with a new run, a new take on the character. So this is James Gunn's perspective of this world and these characters. So I'm trying to look at it from that. So I'm kind of excited to see what the story is and see how Supergirl fits into things, especially. But I'm kind of interested in the take on the world and seeing from a more comic booky perspective. So I'll be curious to see how that pans out. So I'm optimistic, but also trying to make sure I'm cautious but optimistic, I think, is kind of where I am at the moment. And I think that's fair. I think I'm happy to be in that place. Low expectations.
And I'm also happy to find out that they're starting to film on Supergirl, because we have been scared. A little bit scared. We have been burnt before. And it seems like, they're full steam ahead on Superman now. They're starting to film on Supergirl. That's supposed to come out next year.
Summer, 6/26/26.
So, I mean, I'm excited not just for Superman, but also because Superman gets us one step closer to the prize, which is Supergirl.
Once we get to Superman, it's less than a year.
Then we're in the driver's seat.
The countdown starts.
Tick tock, tick tock. We're gonna have one of those 24 clocks that's just going down.
Yeah, so we'll have to keep our eye out on any Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow news that might still come out in the meantime. But potentially a Supergirl appearance in this one. Don't know for sure, but I'm definitely going to see Superman to see if Supergirl shows up.
Yeah. which we all should. We all should go.
We should all support this movie so that it is
like,
successful enough to make them
yay.
want to put that Woman of Tomorrow movie.
Woman of Tomorrow is going to be so great. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like, if they do like almost an MCU thing where like at the end of Superman, there's like a little tease into Supergirl. Or yeah, maybe her popping up at some point in just a small like little cameo. I believe that they cast her while they were working on this movie.
They did.
So one could maybe imagine that we might see her.
My guess is it's a post-credit sequence.
That's what my guess is as well.
But
like
with all of these other DC characters in it, she could pop up in the middle of the movie.
Very well, like be hanging out with Hawk Girl at her coffee shop.
Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be amazing? I would love that. Actually,
Hawk Girl makes Supergirl like one of those like latte arts, and it's got the like the Superman, the S shield, and she's like, "Here you go."
I would love it. Now I'm going to be disappointed if that doesn't happen.
Listen, we're pitching such good things. Nasty Luther, Barista Hawk Girl.
Yeah, I am excited about it. Unfiltered also echoes the thinking about things is a different run. So that's the way I am choosing to see it at the moment. And also, Phil thinks that a first image of Supergirl will come in the coming months. I wonder if we will see the first image before the Superman movie. Maybe they may want to keep Supergirl a secret if she is in the movie. I imagine they want to have her as a surprise.
I think that keeping her a secret would be great. I do think that if they're filming outside, they're going to have to
release it. Yeah.
Really, really hardcore on their security, or they're going to just have to release it. It's really tough to keep things under wrap, especially like when you're, out on location, out in public where people can like snap a photo. And like you, I'd rather see, especially if she's in the suit, I'd rather see a professional photo of the suit before some blurry camera phone photo where it's like, I think those 2 pixels look nice, but I can't tell. If I unfocus my eyes and look at it, it looks amazing.
It's like one of those magic eye things.
Yeah, exactly.
Where you're gonna, like cross your eyes.
She's in there.
That's an interesting point to think about. Why would they even need to be outside in a public space for Woman of Tomorrow?
They might not,
because she's in a bar at the beginning, and then she's in outer space for most of the movie. I could see them going on location for some of those like worlds, like the dinosaur pond area, where like maybe you want a physical desert.
But you might be able to do that like out in the desert, out in the middle of nowhere. So you, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow might be able to be more locked down than Superman was, which is like a story that takes place in the middle of a city and you're filming in a city
where you have to have a lot of onlookers looking at whatever Superman's doing. So it may be possible that maybe they don't have to. So I don't know. I don't know what the strategy is for them.
We might get like a good like reveal for Supergirl that they have planned out.
Although maybe
a photo.
Maybe in a final trailer, maybe they put Supergirl in for like a split second.
That would be so exciting.
That would be so exciting. So
you'd be like, enhance.
We would do a 2-hour live stream on,
and it would just be about one blurry second of a trailer. Like, I think she's gonna be great based on like the body language.
The 1 second we see
when you slow it down 1 millisecond at a time.
Let's go frame by frame.
Let's go frame by frame.
All right. Well, I think we are all kind of anticipating a new Superman movie and looking forward to seeing what they release in the coming months, as well as we go to the release date in July. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Supergirl Radio. If you'd like to contact us, you can post a comment on our website at supergirlradio.com. You can email us at supergirlradio@gmail.com. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on X and Instagram, all at Supergirl Radio. And if you like what we do, we encourage you to give us a rating and write us a review on Apple Podcasts and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Supergirl Radio is part of the DCTV Podcast and Multiverse of Color Network, so definitely go check those out. And you can hang out with us us as we go live and wired on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern on the DC TV Podcast YouTube channel. So make sure you are subscribed. And DC TV Podcast also has a TeePublic store. So if you're in need of new DC, DC TV, DC Comics, DCU related t-shirts, tank tops, sweatshirts, magnets, tote bags, pins, phone cases, pillows, or stickers, go to supergirlradio.com and click on the TeePublic store link at the top of the page.
And since we talked about the Superman movie, I'm sure that we have.
So what I should have put in there,
design.
and I forgot because we've been gone for a month and I forgot to change this out. We talked about Lobo.
We did talk about Lobo.
And in the news section with Jason Momoa. And we have some Lobo designs in the DC TV Podcast TeePublic
Look at
store.
them. They're beautiful.
Yeah. I like the one with it's just his face with wild hair.
With the wild hair. Yeah, that's the one I would get if I was going to be rocking my Lobo.
Yeah, if you're a Lobo super fan.
If you're a Lobo head.
that's the one that I recommend. We do have for this time of the year where it's cold and some places that don't normally get snow have recently gotten snow. Get a hoodie, get a sweatshirt. This is a great way to keep warm with a Lobo hoodie. I would recommend it if you're into Lobo. So since we talked about Jason Momoa's casting in Woman of Tomorrow, we highly recommend the Lobo designs. Also, we would like to thank our Legion of Super Sponsors for supporting the Supergirl Radio Patreon. These people are Michael, Anne-Marie, Yvonne, Nicola, Abby, Miriam, Nicole, Brian, Ethan, Majuba, Annie, Rachel, and Kit. And if you would like to subscribe to our Patreon and support us there, you can go to patreon.com/Supergirl Radio. We've had a lot of great Patreon content recently. In my opinion, I'm biased, of course, but we have pitched an animated Captain Ron for Disney. It was a great discussion. If you're into that, definitely become a Legion of Super sponsor. And we also reviewed The Batman starring Robert Pattinson. So if you are interested in hearing our thoughts about that, because we had many of them, go to patreon.com/Supergirl Radio. Well, you can find me on various places on the interwebs. I am on the social media platform Vero at Derby Kid, where I share kind of what I'm listening to, what I'm watching, some TV shows, some cult documentaries that I've been watching. So that's real fun. I'm also on Instagram at The Derby Kid. I share some pictures that I take occasionally. And then you can also check me out on my personal YouTube channel at youtube.com/duckmilkprod. I also do a travel blog that I do with my brother at Oasis Broom on all the social media platforms. I've got to get our latest cruise in there and updated. So be checking that out for any travel content coming up.
And you can find me on the internet at Mojotastic. And you can also find me as a co-host on the Legendary Ladies podcast, where I believe next week we are coming back from our holiday hiatus. And I'm honestly not sure what we're going to talk about. But if you, over the holidays, were able to watch Wicked, that was our last episode, which you can check out on our YouTube channel at The Legendary Ladies. You can also find us on Instagram and X at Legends_podcast on X, at The Legendary Ladies on Instagram, and just check out the podcast. Subscribe where you listen to your podcast, because we're usually more regular, but we took a nice extended hiatus for the holidays, and we have to discuss what we're going to talk about when we come back.
Yeah, it's nice to have a little bit of a break when you're a podcaster for the holidays. You get to kind of refresh and come back ready to go. So that's why we always take a hiatus there for the holidays. So I'm excited to hear whatever you guys have coming up soon. So I'll be paying attention to that as well. And I think that's going to do it for this episode. Oh, actually, before we wrap up, I did want to answer one question in case people are interested in what we have coming up as well. Stanley asks, any more comic book shows? So Stanley, we are going to be, after this week's episode, we're going to get back into the rebirth era of Supergirl. We're going to dig into the 4-issue series called Hell Arisen. You're the villain, Hell Arisen. Apparently, that has something to do with how Supergirl gets uninfected by the Batman Who Laughs. So we're gonna read it and find out.
We can't find out in the Rebirth run because that's not in there.
Why would you put that stuff in the Supergirl title?
Crazy.
So for the next 4 weeks, we're gonna dig into those issues and then figure out what we're gonna do from there. Probably some more Supergirl comic stuff. Maybe All-Star Superman. Maybe we'll dig into that. So we'll figure that out as we schedule episodes in the future. And you can always figure out what we're doing next by going to the DC TV Podcast YouTube channel, the channel that you're watching currently on the live stream. And you can see our upcoming live stream. So you'll know when and where and what we're discussing. So that's how you can figure that out. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Supergirl Radio. But until next time, I'm still Rebecca Johnson.
And I'm still Morgan Glennon, and we'll be looking up for more on I cannot speak. I'm sorry. And I'm still Morgan Glennon, and we'll be looking up for more on the upcoming Superman movie.
McGurk! I love
Not
typing.
mess with my Google Docs, Meeksy.
Supergirl Radio is going live every night of the week. How do you like it? Is becoming a human burrito a plus or a minus? I don't know. It does seem snug.
I mean, they say you are what you eat.
Kira. I love that.
So I do a podcast called Supergirl Radio, and one of our segments is Lena Luthor, Boardroom or Ballroom, because her outfit,
She looks like a boss in this coat.
Nasty Luthor like a different Luthor? It's not just Lena being mean?
Helen Slater here. So fun to know that you're hosting a podcast called Supergirl Radio.
Yeah!